Welcome, everyone, to this wonderful call that we have with Q today. And it's amazing that we're here on a beautiful full moon, September the 10th, 2022. So, Q, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we also have Stan, who is one of our big fans of Q as well, to be here with me. So, Q, we would love to be able to hear you now, and we can get started.
So here we are.
Indeed, we are. It's been a little while since we've spoken with you, Q, and so much has been happening also. But it is a most wonderful day today, and especially today because we have you as our wonderful light source being with us today. So I'm going to go ahead and let you take the floor since I know you have a beautiful song in mind and lyrics, and we'll let you lead the way for today.
Thanks, Jane. It is always an incredible honor to get to do this and connect with so many. I'm so proud to know you. It's amazing, you and Zorea. I get so much nourishment from you and these shows and talking to so many people. And this song has a lot to do with all the people that call into me. We're all getting our memories back, and let's see how I do today. Cold wind out tonight, a chill of distant eyes. An orbit survey finds your mind. I will remember. You will remember this time that came tonight. There's a thought that fills your mind, a vision of a time when knowledge was confined. And then we wonder how machines can steal each other's dreams from points that are unseen. It's real. I will remember, you will remember the star that came tonight. It's the best I can do. Hope that moves us on.
Oh, wow, that was
I want to thank Jeff Tate for those incredible words, and that was Queensryche.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Bravo.
A little inspired today.
Oh, very, very inspiring.
Yeah, just got up.
Great. Thank you for that, Q. We are so inspired every time you're on our calls. You just fill us with so much love and excitement, and very much a great deal of awesome inspiration. So.
Yeah, what I'm finding on my one-on-ones is everyone's getting their memories back. The beautiful phone call we had yesterday is a great example of that. We're all working so hard, and we can smell the fire. We can't quite see it, and it's so exciting. Everyone who calls into me, they have their own view of all of us going through the ascension cycle and or process, and it's just thrilling how well we're doing. And so I just can't wait to see what you bring for us today, Jane. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. That's why I have Stan over here in the wings as well. So I think we need to, I would like to be able to start with I love the lyrics and your song. You've got a beautiful voice, Q. Could we get started perhaps today with a together commands that we can, everybody can kind of feel and also get us into the higher frequencies, which the song already did. But with you, we would love to be able to start the show with that too, if you will. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. My great honor to get to do this, and I encourage everybody to work with Source, your spirit, verbally every day, as you need. And I'll suggest this one for today.
Thank you.
I command prime creation to increase all of life force energy here now. I command prime creator to increase life force energy here now. I command prime creation to increase life force energy here now. 3, 2, 1. And it will be.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
You betcha.
All right. Okay. So hold on one second, everyone. So just let me get started with a question, and if you will, Q. One of the questions that has come up, and of course, this has to do with what has been happening now in this reality, has to do with the movement going forward with our ascension process and the big events that are now have started to occur. And one being, the death of the British Queen Elizabeth. And then, of course, questions have said, well, now we can actually, the starting of a new going forwards in our evolution. So can you kind of guide us a little bit? Okay, so that was just one of the things that has occurred. And that was Mammoth with the death of the Queen. And that was also part of the plan that was to be. So let's just start with that particular question in regards to that event, big event. That was, of course, we also know that the death of the Queen happened a couple of years back.
Propaganda's king, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. The last few days I've been getting a lot of questions about that, and I assume we can see now the symbolism that's redundantly portrayed in our media. And it actually gets easier to understand propaganda in media if you turn it off for a while and then you come back to it. I've always suggested people go to a big grocery store where there's hundreds of magazines, and you can actually see the tale trying to be sold to you in many respects. And notice that the first thing you'll see in the news is we better introduce another royal family real quick, huh? Did you notice that?
Right. Yes, of course.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a very long story. Your question is we could spend hours talking about it, but essentially, when you see stories like that, let's look at the spiritual side of this. And my suggestion is you're in a spiritual war, obviously, around owning an asset known as mammals, humans, whatever you like. And what you got out of that symbolism, as a gross generalization, is the trading and bartering of the bonds of humans has ended. And so not only in cahoots with the Catholic Church, the royal family, and Washington, D.C., those countries, these are all three separate countries, and others, by the way, but that was symbolism for you can't trade and barter a spirit anymore. And so, like it or not, if you have a birth certificate and Social Security number, you were a slave being traded globally because of your promise to go to work every day and pay taxes and so forth. And so for me, to just a quick summation of your question is, you're not a slave anymore to that system. But I encourage everybody to pay attention. Let's see who else wants to re-enslave us. So take great care, please. Hope that helps.
Thank you for that, Q. Hello. Sorry about that. A little interruption here on my end. Okay. Whoops. Hold on a second. I don't know what's going on here. All right. Okay. So what you're really saying is that it's pretty much the end of the cabal. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. So for me, first of all the people listening to the show, let's help Jane today, because there's a lot of attention on her when she does these shows, and I command our spirits to protect and hold Jane in perfect light today. 3, 2, 1 now. And this will allow you to communicate more efficiently.
Thank you.
For me, the cabal, as you call it, is being puppeteered by about 3 other levels above them, so to speak. So, me, the cabal is just the puppets of the individuals actually doing the work. So, if I was to look at the modern societies, I would summarize that you're in a war with aliens. You're in the middle of an alien war. Mm-hmm. Remembering that you're a spirit, your consciousness, and obviously a multidimensional being. Mm-hmm. And they're competing for your space. And they use the triggers of society to do it, and personalities and everything else. So you're on an alien planet that used to be a light planet or a dark planet. And I want to be careful with alien because I have fond relationships with aliens. But when I say alien, dark is what I really mean, that don't have our best interests. So I hope that helps.
So let's go deeper into that, if you will. Since, we're talking about the cabal, most of the people that are cabal are already the lower echelon, above those that are in charge of this war of evil versus good. So since we, most of us already know, it's spoken of many, many times, many years already, about this veil that has covered our planet, this veil of what we call the three density. So that's the purpose of why we are feeling like we're enslaved, because we really have been taken over by the dark alien, so to speak, on a higher level. So give us a little bit of a perspective on that. Obviously, we already know about the Anunnaki, those, the bad guys. They were in a war, then they decided to do this whole experience. Give us your take on all of that. Since we're talking about spirit, we're talking about aliens, we're talking about the higher dark beings that really had started all of this. So that we understand now why we need to transition out of it and this veil being lifted.
I'm just honored to get to field this question. And just know great care is taken when I do my best to communicate with you. Please, I'll remind everybody to take what you want from me. It's just information, and leave what you don't want. But for me, in summary, compared to 2,000 years ago and now, this version of humans is very heavy, very dense. And what I mean by that is that you're able to carry so much baggage in your head. 2,000 years ago, we were very light. It was very easy to transfer your light body to another individual, share space, merge, if you like. You were more malleable with your spirit. Now you're very dead. You're like a rock in comparison, and that's, for me, the only value I really bring to you is that I have my memories back, as the song in whispers. So what's occurred here with the dark is they've taken advantage of not only instituting title, identity, and time, all of which were not popular 2,000 years ago, especially time, and created implementation program, which we're calling timelines. And they do it through the hijacking of your thoughts. And so compared to 2,000 years ago to now, we can't stop thinking and stressing, worrying, doubt, because our memory bank is massive now. And our epigenetic center that records all the lineage of 2,000 years ago in our physical body is really powerful. And so you're now reliving your ancestral history in your physical being now, because your recording system is so powerful. So the dark has taken advantage of that and manipulated genetically, as you noticed, the Anunnaki is the name you used, genetically have modified this version of humans in a way that has a really powerful mind. And we're working hard, but it's a little tricky to stop thinking here, isn't it?
Yes, so be it.
And so my to do my best to stay on point is the way out of this puzzle is to live unbelievably inspired, excited, joyful, passion, without a care in the world and or your natural faith. And I know this information is redundant to these listeners who listen to Zora or Zoraya, and the higher frequency beings, they don't have any doubt. They don't have any fear. They work with their environment. They love their environment, and the environment loves them. And so that's my great encouragement. I hope that helps.
So the question for us, Q, is we understand. We understand. We don't particularly experience it, but we understand. So that moves us again into the healing process, and to remember who we really are. So when you've spoken to us about recalibration, that is so key. How do we lift and raise our calibration and know that we are where we ought to be? Because we would know if we were at a higher frequency. But getting from this density, moving from mind to heart, or moving from lower density to a higher frequency, I mean, that's a big step that way. And I know we're moving in that direction. I guess my real question is, how do we get from, let's just say we've already moved from A to Q, the letter Q, and we need to get over there to Z. How do we do that? And we only see Z as is over there, but we just can't seem to get to Z, and we're here at the letter Q. Q?
The reason for me that it's so difficult is because it's so simple. We have been snookered in many respects to how we participate with one another. We can actually start with this call today. Is I couldn't wait to get this call today. I couldn't wait to be on this radio show. I couldn't wait to sing that song. And that's inspiration. Not to say that I can do it each and every day when I interact with lower frequencies, but it is our choice. This is my definition of ascension. Your next choice, if it is from inspiration and excitement, that is ascension for me. It's that simple. And the more we focus on creativity through our excitement is my definition of ascension. And or to get to the letter Z. If every choice is what you prefer and circumstances do not matter and only your state of being is your methodology for life, that is how ascension works. Hope that helps.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I think for people, and I'm going to bring Stan in here. Hey, Stan, unmute yourself, if you will. Maybe you can help me with this question. So let's see. Oh, there you go. Hi, Stan. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here with us also. And if you will, go down and unmute. If you're unmute, we should be able to hear you. Increase your volume, if you will. So you're still on. Yeah, well, no, you have to unmute yourself again, if you will. Try that one more time. You have to be the one to do that, Stan. Go ahead, unmute, if you will. Okay. All right, there we go. We should hear you. Stan, why don't you go ahead and can you say something so we can hear you? Oh, I'm sorry, Stan. All right. Well, we'll work on him. So, I guess, and I just want to let people know that just recently for myself, I've been able to partake of a system that is available for people. And it's a high frequency technology. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow as well. But I think what I realized is moving into a higher frequency, we understand then, I understand at this point what it means when Q says that it is a state of being. It's a state of being from being caught in the gravity of what is really happening and still being pulled into sadness and fear and suffering, and feeling that when you feel it from other people, all of that can still be with you. But that movement into higher frequencies, or to be in that peace state or that neutrality, I like it. I love the word Q when you talk about neutrality, because then it's like, as you say, you don't care because you're neutral. When you're in neutral, like when you go, when you're driving and you go into neutral, it's like you kind of stand still and you can watch and be the observer of what is happening. And being able to be more objective in terms of what is happening, really, really happening. So, and so we do the commands that you share with us. And when we do that, Q, it helps, but we get pulled down into this density very, very quickly sometimes. So it is difficult. I just wanted to share that it is difficult to stay at that level or that frequency of neutrality, of just being in that state when everything is in chaos, or people around you are suffering still from the COVID, and people are angry and feeling, sadness and whatever else. So, how could we do that? How can we be more at that level, like you, personally, because that's where you are, or where Zora is at always. Even Zaraya, because Zaraya has her way of being able to contend with that, so that she is more neutral.
Yeah, it's a absolutely profound question, and the reason it's profound for me is having my memories back, as it may come across as arrogant, but to know what it's like to live at the higher, everyone here likes to use the word dimension. I'm not fond of that word, but frequencies, to know what it's like to be a human on another planet and have all your abilities, for lack of a better term, and be here, you take it for granted. I have to say that I find myself guilty many times of how come they don't see what they used to be. And I say it all the time. How come they can't see what they used to be, and right. Or where is the conditioning? I'm always looking for how is it that they unplugged us so well? And it's a simple message: go within in your decision-making process, formal or informal. It doesn't really matter. If you don't like it, don't do it. It's not that you don't care, you don't let's say have memory. It's really more about why would you make a choice that was based on a burden or a requirement? I always say there's no rules in the playground. Why are there rules in the playground? It's our playground.
Right.
And so redundantly get tired of hearing myself, yet at the same time, how did they do it? How did they unplug us from source so well? Right. And every time, all I can find is the ego mind and or the front of the mind controlling our next decision-making process, instead of running over to the swing set. And that's the best I have, Jane, is the simpler you make it, the simpler you make your life, the easier things synchronistically flow in the universe. And that is the common denominator when you live at a higher frequency, to observe your experience, but you don't hang on to it. You just play with it. You go, hey, that was interesting circumstance, interesting experience, but it's not me, because now is really just now. I'm now. I said right now. Now is now. Or did you say now? What about now? Okay, now. And so inevitably, that's the best I can do in my teachings is, if I'm considered a teacher, is really play with events in a relationship to our desires. Is that what we desire? Or did we do it because someone else demanded it of us? Is the best I can do. I hope that helps, Jane.
Well, yeah, I think that that does help. So let's just take an example, a couple of examples, if you will. So let's just say, let's just talk. Well, let's still talk about this COVID craziness and the jabs. So we know that the people that are in present administration are basically gone, are on their way out, still playing their role that they've decided that is part of the plan. But in the situation when we talk about the present, so we have so many people still in situations. What happens to those who are asleep? Let's say this big, I don't want to say boom, but this big transformation, when that occurs, how does that play? When does that play out? Because people are still thinking, and Q, I get it, we should be just focusing in on the now. However, again, we're talking about the mind. The mind is always saying, well, what's going to happen in the near future? What's going to happen, next year? And in the meantime, we have people that are suffering from COVID or the symptoms of it. And, there's more to come. Now we got this crazy sum, and you get pulled into it. It's so difficult to unpull yourself from everything that is happening around you. So for me, it just, as Q, as you know, it's always, and you have taught us, Zora has taught us well in regards to get out of your mind and, just be in here and find what really gives you peace and joy in your lives. And when you live it, nothing really else matters because you're in that now presence. And if you could do that, then guess what? You can heal yourself. It will. And people worry about the ones that are still sick. How do they get away from doing that? When you have family members that are sick because of what has happened with the jabs, etc., how do you pull yourself from that situation, for example? I mean, you could pull yourself for a little while, but then you get pulled right back into it, especially if you live with it and you can't get out of it. I mean, you could, but you're there because family is there.
Okay, that'll be real easy to answer.
Good.
It'll be like 7,000 hours later. Okay, I'm not funny today. I know. Okay, so
I'm trying to figure out the 7,000 hours, Q.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so which one do you want to focus on? They, administration, COVID, or sick? Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start. It doesn't matter, really.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so what if the good guys? This is a clue to everyone. What if the good guys are using CGI just as much as the bad guys are? What would that look like? That's a hint there, everybody. And or why would we create manifest, if you like that word? I don't care for that word, but why would we create a universe that was based on what we just watched on the Tell You What to Vision machine, computer? Mm-hmm. So in my universe where I'm at on planet Earth right now, I don't see any of the things you're talking about. And yet I can go participate with you whenever I want. And so that separation is getting greater and greater and greater. So remember, everyone that hears me today, if you take anything away from me, please observe this statement. You all are gods creating a universe in every motion you execute. Opening your eyes is a God creating a universe, a dimension, a frequency, whatever word you like there. Never, ever forget it. You are an incredible, expansive, creative being. And if you believe anything on these computers, anything on these TVs, you are now living in the past.
Okay.
Even my words are in the past now, aren't they?
Well, yes. I mean, okay. Well, that was pretty profound.
No, if you want me to talk about one of these items, I will. I have a great story about COVID. It's my favorite. I have two really fun COVID stories for everybody.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's been my favorite experience on planet Earth, believe it or not, to watch people believe in a disease that doesn't exist. Not to say that there's not a bacterial infection on planet Earth that comes and goes redundantly. We've had this planet used to never have any bacteria. It's really tricky for me to talk about because I remember this planet when a human had never stepped foot on it, as arrogant as that might come across. But at the same time, this planet at one time never had bacteria. And so one of the great attacks on this planet was to have a meteorite sent here with bacteria. And I'm sure Zora and Zorea have already talked about that. And so this was always going to be a living planet. Maybe if you see Wes Penrose papers, he's got a pretty good summary of this planet and the evolution of this version of humans, but incomplete for me, but it's not bad. COVID is really fun story for me because I do walk amongst everyone. Just I'm a person. And even though I bilocate here continuously, 150 times a second, and my story is going to get really, really comfortable for you because you all are spirit beings doing something similar, although in individuality. But here's my funny COVID story. One day I go into a grocery store and I want to buy a couple items, and the grocery store says, "We can't sell those to you because you're not wearing a mask." And I go, "Well, I have money. Here's some," and of course, I always use cash. A means of exchange is always proper to have a physical asset from your planet you live on. So I give them more than what the value price on the items was, and they said, "We can't sell that to you because you're not wearing a mask." And so then I double the amount of money I'm going to give them and then walk out the store. And then, of course, the cashier and general manager chase me down and take my picture. And I get in my vehicle and they take a picture of my license plate and everything. And I wave and say goodbye and everything. And then, of course, my picture's up on the wall and I'm having so much fun with this because that is the unmasked bandit who doubles his payment for items. Can you even make this up? So I paid double what the value of these items were, and I've got a photo taken of me as the unmasked bandit. It's my favorite COVID story, and I cherish it. And I'm dying to get that picture. I can't get it. They won't give it to me, and of course, they have no idea who I am because they're asleep. So anyway, here's my real COVID story. The aliens, what they're really going for is removing your attachment to spirit, right? Incrementally in a way you don't see it happen. So their worst enemy is me, of course. So today, Jane, you've already taken some hits today already. So the aliens, what they're doing is they want to control ascension, and they thought they nailed it in 2012, and they used the Mayan calendar to get everyone to get on that timeline, and they missed the mark. And so what they did is they implemented a massive cloning program. And I don't want anyone to be alarmed about it, but most people have been cloned in a way that they've cut and pasted this version of humans in a way that our spirit will keep annealing to the Merkaba, whatever you want to call it, that patternization of how the spirit comes into physicality, and which you call soul. Well, the spirit is so excited to be here, it doesn't care or differentiate between the patternization of how the light body comes into physicality. And by the way, we have no fear whatsoever. We're the most powerful. We're God. And so when knowing full well that I'm off topic with your question, the sickness that they're really going for is fear. Throw some greed in there. I can't. How am I going to heal? That helps with the conditioning for. They'd really like you to take another shot, and that shot is to make you a superhuman. They'll try and sell you a superhuman shot pretty soon here, and so I want everyone to be aware of that. Is now you're going to have the shot that cures polio, arthritis, age, the mumps, chicken pox. It really doesn't matter. Pick a disease. They're going to try and put it all in one bucket. And by the way, we're going to give you $1 million if you take the shot in a new Corvette. Mm-hmm. And so I want everyone to be aware of that agenda because it's right here now. How many Americans would turn down $1 million because they're entering into the reevaluation system and think that's the real RV, et cetera, et cetera? Mm-hmm. So I just want to, with great respect, I do not want to create timelines or fear whatsoever, but please look at the bigger game here that the aliens have. And that is to take away your spirit, sustain an evolution here. I assure you right now, I have got a tremendous amount of attention on me. Jane does too. In that we are doing our best to tell the truth here. Take it or leave it.
So
the aliens don't want you to be a light being again.
Right. We get that. So how do we, knowing that, now we also have family members and friends that obviously are going to take it, to do it, to take it and become, they're going to become super soldiers or whatever, because that's what the dark agenda wants. So what do we do to help them? And I know we could do commands for them, but we have to live with them. So is that the best thing we can do for them? I mean, obviously they're not going to listen to us. So what should we do besides doing the commands, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, and, spread our love to them? What else can we do?
Okay. So what's so amazing about us is that just standing next to somebody that's asleep, for lack of a better term, I don't necessarily endorse that, but that's what we use here expertly. Yes. Our natural core, our light body, our wisdom, this is a technology we all created, and or ascension, if you like. We all created a system in which never fails, and that is the light source, God, keeps growing continuously through the multiverse and incrementally in your relationship with others. So literally standing next to somebody who's at a 7 and you're at a 10, they get your light. We're so nimble. We can go to lower frequencies, hang out with a barroom fighter, and we can go skip in the woods in the exact same moment. It's amazing how multidimensional we are just based on our choices. So as always, I will have the same response to your question, and that is go within. And these guys cannot keep up with us. They don't even have a chance. Right. You ever had any problems skipping through the forest? You ever had any problems petting your dog that licks your face off? Had any problems swimming in the ocean?
Right.
On and on we can go here.
Sure. Okay. Beautiful answer. Thank you for that cue. I'm going to go ahead. I think that's Stanley. Don, I think we have a person that has raised their hand. Is that Stan? Don? Oh, I don't know if I can.
Hi, Jane.
Yes. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, there you are now. Now we can hear you, Stan.
Okay, yeah, primitive technology.
You bet.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if it's the technology or if it's me, because I do have issues with the technology, but I can just hear Zora saying primitive technology.
For sure. Go ahead.
Well, what a excellent call again so far. I just wondered if I could chime in.
Please.
A wee little bit. When Q was talking about,
he was right here with you, Stan.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Q. And Q was talking about do the white hats develop CGI and CGI programs as well. And so what I take from that is that the white hats are in control and waiting, and they're just waiting for the right time to, for things to start happening in a profound way for humanity. And also there was another point that I had was, I remember back as a kid, as far back as I can remember, nothing really made sense. And my parents were terrific people, hardworking, organic farmer, raised 8 kids, and everybody was happy-go-lucky. There was not a worry in the world. As I got a little bit older, and this continual feeling of a kind of a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, with family and friends and everything. It got to the point where, like, I wanted to start using radionics and towers of power for growing, and none of my family would have anything to do with that because it was unheard of. It wasn't traditional, and so I had a falling out. It turned out to be amicable, but I departed from it. A very, very good, solid, organic farm, and so. But at the time, it was extremely heavy. The anger, the emotions, and the frustrations and everything, and I was constantly in my head. So I look back to that time frame to where I have come now to now, with continual studies and research and self-help programs, and so to now. And I love the Q commands because to me that's been just a very powerful tool, if that's the right word. But anyway, it has probably done more to speed up my journey and my God self awareness and awakening than anything I've done in the last 50 years. And it's always been to try to do. I always go back to Peter Olson, and I loved what he said. I intend a wonderful, magnificent, magical, loving, abundant, blissful day. Mm-hmm. Always being, thinking, talking, acting in a loving, positive way. And I think that's where I've been at pretty much for all of my life. But I guess what I'm getting to is when I can put a command there now, I think is even more powerful than an intention, because I'm commanding my God self, and make it so, and it is done. And so, and I love Zora. It's like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 from the God of my being I receive. Another very, very, very powerful tool. Like there again, when Zora brought that out, it seemed to amplify significantly my my God self, my awareness. Now, mind you, I am still in that veil. You talked about that earlier. I'm right there with the rest of humanity. I'm still striving to be better and fully awaking, all of my memories of previous lifetimes, and so all those kind of downloads. And so I'm wondering, is there another tool, Q, that's going to be coming out and made available? Like, is it going to amplify what I'm hearing, things of this solar flash that's going to hit the entire planet, coming soon, where it'll almost instantly repair. We were downgraded from 12 DNA down to 2, pretty much the entire planet. and which puts us down in that 3-dimensional. So once we start working on repairing, and those ones are the two that we do have are damaged. So we don't have a lot to work with. And so if the solar flash, what I have heard, and I can't prove that by any means, but if that'll take us, like I am hearing, into almost a spontaneous or an immediate upgrade in our DNA and the repair of our damaged DNA. And I guess maybe I can just ask you, is there anything to that?
Outstandingly knowledgeable, advanced question. Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to meet you. It's a great honor to field these kind of questions, and I have about 17 questions to answer with your statement, and they're all beautiful. And I'm being facetious, of course. The one that looks the most prominent to me, I have to write them down, I won't remember them, is how you create a blissful day every day. It's amazing, your modality and your observation, and I commend you for your advances. It's amazing. I'm not real popular, in my opinion, with your DNA questions for a couple of different reasons, because having knowledge about what it's like to be another human versus this human is maybe only the value I bring here at times. Is everything after your light body is after your light body. Source, Merkaba, everything is after source. So that means DNA is after source. If you repair, as you say, or grow the volume of DNA in your physicality, you are going to be a superhuman, don't get me wrong. But you're still a human with restrictions, because the DNA is designed, at least this version of humans, is designed to hinder the volume of light you can get into physicality. And so most of us are running around with about 20% of our capabilities. Notice the number, 2 strands. And if we start, as you have already discussed, if you start working with your spirit commands, notice that something's changing. Well, that change, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I really love you to tell me, teach me what changes have happened since you started talking to spirit and or source. That really intrigues me, because everyone's doing it in a little different way. They're growing in a little different way, and it's fascinating. DNA was engineered exclusively to filter the volume of light that you can get into physicality, yet give you all the unbelievable abilities to be an individuality. So regardless of the engineering and genetic manipulation, it's still unbelievable that you can be in singularity as a human. It's such a privilege to be able to touch, feel, taste, smell. It's an amazing accomplishment for a spirit to get to do this, to be a tree, to be an animal, to be a human. And so my question back to you, brilliantly spoken, by the way, what have you experienced when you command your spirit to help and support you?
Well, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, for me, it's been many years of just experiencing trial and error. So, as I mentioned earlier, had this beautiful organic farm, and my parents were very religious, and at that time we were just getting into the Rockefeller curriculum, all the education, and the banking was being taken over, and on and on and on and on. And so but and none of it made any sense to me. It never ever did. Like, and like I said, I feel like that round square peg trying to fit in a round hole. So to answer your question, trial and error. Like, a lot of times I would find myself, and it wasn't my true nature, but I would start lashing out at somebody if I felt like they offended me or whatever. And and operating and living sometimes in lower dimensional mindset, not getting away from the heart center and coming from the mind. And every time I did that, every single time, it just didn't feel good. It didn't make me happy. And so, but I mean, this is going over like 30, 40, 50 years. So, I mean, it's a really slow progression to where I'm at now. And using the commands, I never have to worry ever about lashing out at somebody or feeling offended or, I don't know what what other words I can use, but I mean, it just didn't happen at the snap of a finger. It took, I've been working at it for many years. And when I was a kid, I had no answers. Everybody believed in the preacher, everybody believed in the doctor. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask one more question?
Yes. No, I don't mind.
So when you command your spirit or you command the universe, prime creator, what happens to you? What's the delta that you're observing as an individual that changes with you? Thank you so much.
It reinforces. It reinforces each time I do it. It seems like that connection to source, it just grows more each time I do it. And I go out for my morning and evening walk, and I go out into the nature, and it's just a beautiful, peaceful, serene, calm. And when I add the commands and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, each time it just gets a little bit more powerful.
Beautiful.
And
so that's why I guess I started out, the way I did. Maybe, perhaps you can do it in, as or others can do this transition, like, with the snap of the finger. For me, I've been working at it for a lot of years and continue, and I continue at a more rapidly each day. As each day comes, I just hit it harder. And so I guess that's why I was, is there a shortcut? And I think the answer is probably going to be no. Just keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's really valuable for me to hear that. Thank you so much. And it's truly a leap of faith, isn't it? Like, okay, so I'm going to go in the backyard and I'm going to go command my spirit to come into me. Really? And so the indoctrination here is so good. The propaganda is here. We failed to recognize that living in a lower dimension frequency, I prefer, takes some work because energetically there's not as much capability here. Yet it's still amazing to have density. Don't ever dismiss how incredible density is. It's amazing to pick up a rock and it's heavy. Just that alone, it's just truly amazing. Yet we have never been taught to work with ourselves, bringing more of ourselves into a geographical location, for lack of a better definition, because we're so expansive. We don't have any fear. We're just gods. We just go out and go. We just go. As I always say on many of my one-on-ones, if I shine a flashlight into outer space, when does the light stop? It never does, and it never will. Thank you so much for your answer. Go ahead, Jane.
Beautiful. Thank you, Stanley, for that.
Could I just say one more quick thing?
Okay, go ahead, Stan. Sure.
Thank you so much for your answers, Q. Totally resonate, and especially the one with the DNA follows source and always will. So to me, I guess what that says is, I command, return, my spirit, return all of my light body to me now. And is that correct?
That is right on point. So again, you're having a fabulous time as a human, and you want more of your tools back in many respects, or more of your abundance of knowledge. So many of the successes I'm seeing, and there's a lot, so this is a tremendous statement of encouragement. Is my goal here is, everyone who's working with the commands, they're getting all of their intelligence back, but it's coming from their heart center. So what's normal for us, and you said it correctly for me, I command my spirit to give me all of me now, as an example. So short and sweet, if you like. Well, what's normal for us is to be inspired and then watch the brain observe the inspiration, not the other way around. The brain is dictate. So a lot of folks I get to communicate with is they're doing it the opposite. I got to go do this, and then I'm going to be happy, and so I'm going to go try and find my heart center after I do this thing that I have to do, because I'm so happy and I'm so joyful and I'm a good person. Well, if it didn't start from the inspiration center and or knowledge center, your light body, then we don't even have a conversation. So that inspiration, when you use it over and over and over again, as you made us aware of, when it's exciting, that's where all the knowledge of the universe is. And then it doesn't come out in words, and it doesn't come out in thought. It comes out in volumes of knowledge. As an example, many people call me and they say to me, how did I know that? I just knew it. Because they're using their heart center more and then observing it, translating it to the mind. And that's how I'm communicating right now. And yes, for me, you have it right. The more you work with your spirit, the more your natural knowledge center will come into play, as you made us aware, is things are flowing easier if you use your state of being as neutrality and your inspiration as your compass. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you, Q. Thank you, Jane.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you both. Stanley, that was that was beautiful. Beautifully said for many. I want to go back a little bit to what Q had said, and I think it's really, really important. And of course, Stanley, you get it as well. But I think it needs to be repeated again. So I'm just going to give an example for myself. So when I find I get drawn to certain things, I'm just kind of doing my own stuff. And then all of a sudden something comes to me. Right. And, if I'm in a peace and neutral state, that's where I get my motivation to go feeling, and I feel like I need to go do this. And then I tell you, oh, hey, Zoraia, I feel like, why don't we go do this? I just, it just makes me feel like I just kind of want to search it out. And that's really coming from my heart center, because my heart center is always saying, where can I go? That's just me, right? What can I look, or where can I go to find something where it's going to be more uplifting? Where can we go? So then we're thinking, oh, well, why don't we go, south or north or west? And then once you start thinking about going to a different location, right? Because you want to explore, that thought of exploring is what is motivating you and inspiring you to go that way. And then all of a sudden you find yourself there one day, or I love flowers, I love orchids, I love roses, you get inspired in your heart, and you say, and then the next thing you're over at the nursery, or you're at the flower shop and smelling all the beautiful flowers and taking one home. So if you, and it all comes again from the heart, instead of always thinking. Now, what's really interesting, Q, is that we always seem to use our minds when we're going to school. College is here for a lot of kids, so it's always the focus of the mind. So how do the kids focus more from their heart when they're learning? How do they do that? I mean, how does that work?
So forgive me, but my interpretation of the question is, how do I play in the system that was made for me to be indoctrinated and still be in heart center? Is that the question?
Yeah, pretty much, for kids, right?
Okay, so this one's for kids. And
right.
So I'm told I have to go to school and graduate high school and fit into the system that I didn't create, because I am told that I have to trade and barter with green pieces of paper with pyramids on them. And now I'm told if I don't do it, I'm never going to get a job. Well, okay, so for me, my answer is not going to be real popular. And that is, why would you do something you don't want to do? And this is for every child in the world. Why would you do something that doesn't feel fun? Children don't do it. Anyway, you can put them in school and watch them get Fs. They love getting Fs. They're like, this totally pretty much sucks. Why would I do this? And so we can keep playing with this story, but the children are really here to teach us, is they don't like doing something. Try and negotiate with a 3-year-old. Try and do it. They're just not going to do it.
Right.
And so I love boundaries with children. They're brutally honest, and I want everyone to have boundaries. I really adore them. They're brutally beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a straight answer for you, Jane, is what I'm trying to say, because I want everyone, especially the children, to show us the way.
Correct.
Live in an expansive, excited decision every moment, every day. Hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, so for the kids, because we're still talking about this program that we're in. And encumbered by. So you've got kids that are going to elementary school, high school, et cetera. And they know that, hey, I got to get my lunch. I got to get this. I got to get my books and go to school. Right. So I guess we can always tell them, even though they have to go to school, that, what you're learn it from your heart. Because if you go to school and you're learning math, that's a valuable tool to have. It's so there's some sort of a separation. How do we bring the heart and understanding it from the mind to come together for kids now, and not so much that hey, I hate it. Why am I going to school? I hate high school, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I hate the friends that I have. And we won't go there, but let's just we'll still talk about the schooling part of it. So how can we untrain, retrain children to understand, if there is a value in their going to school?
Yeah, I did talk to Princess Diana about this many times, and we had a gross salutation, and that is the intrinsic values around mathematics and linguistics. Yeah, so we're endorsing the way we communicate. We're endorsing the way we, for me, all mathematics are incomplete if they don't have geometry included in their mathematics. And you can just look at the Great Pyramids as an example. Yet, the skills associated with mathematics, as we'll use that one as an example, and communication are very valuable. Whether it's indoctrination of our communication, I do remember being here a long time ago, and we communicated with song. We only sang our communication only to those who didn't have their natural telepathy. Notice that even dolphins today, they love talking, but their natural communication is all telepathic. And I'm very comfortable talking with all the marine animals. We have incredible conversations. They're amazing, and they have a very, very broad understanding of the history of this planet. Yeah, when I look at a human, it's this version of humans, I should say. It's fun to observe how we're gonna mold into what we want here with the inheritance of this indoctrination of communication,
right?
And intrinsic mathematics. We'll use that one as an example. We love to build stuff, and so what's wrong with using this incremental mathematical system and teaching it from your home, your community, instead of a system that was molded to take you down the cattle chute, in my opinion. I would like all education to be done in communities based on perception and or realities that your community appreciates. My community needs to know how to build thatched house roofs because that's the resources we have in our area. My community needs to know how to take care of cattle because that's what we have in our community. I have no idea how to raise a sheep, but there's a lot of communities that do. And that's worthwhile. We need wool sweaters, right, to survive. So that's my opinion on education is don't our general communities dictate what we want to learn instead of telling children what they're supposed to learn? That's a question.
Yeah. Very good. Very good, Q. If we can move to a different subject, the other subject that has come up is, and you did this the last time for us, and the question also is in regards to where we are now. And I know that Stanley had brought up this solar flash or this period of time when people are going to awaken instantly. That's not in the program, is it? Because I thought ascension basically is individual anyway. So is there going to be where everybody just kind of wakes up, goes to sleep, and all of a sudden next day they're like they're done with 3D, so to speak?
Yeah, it's an unbelievably valuable question, and I love this question. I get it asked for the last 10 years. I've been asked it, and my dear friend who was killed protecting me, Max Steele, I just cherish him so much, and we we collaborated so many times. How are we going to explain this so people understand it in a way that doesn't get hijacked? The best I can do in the English language, and again, the English language is designed so I can't explain ascension comprehensively, in my opinion. It's a knowledge system that has to be perceived through the heart center for each and every one of us. Mm-hmm. And when I don't listen to your shows, but the knowledge that I have is that Zorea have talked about this endlessly, and I'll take it from my point of view, and that in individuality, directly from source, you're getting this information. The way in which this version of humans, I want to be very careful, this version of humans will receive and or recalibrate and reconfigure through the ascension process is multiple dimensional opportunities. So it's not an event per se, and yes, it is an event. So as you've grown through this version of humans, your light body is growing outside the hindrances of DNA. If you could see yourself 200 years ago, so let's say you went and visited yourself 200 years ago, it would be very difficult for the 200-year-old ago version of you to see you because you're so high in frequency. So you'd basically look like an outline of a light body. You'd have some physicality to that 200 year ago you, yet you've gradually grown into a higher frequency. And so the event that you're talking about, a solar flash, is accurate, but even your solar system, your galaxy, well, it's grown gradually too, and it gets to a pinnacle in which it just resets and or recalibrates. So I'm not comfortable with solar flash because you keep stating something outside yourself. When I see the sun as a living being, the planet as a living being, you as a living being, I don't differentiate. So that's where I get in trouble with the dogma that's here, is we're all recalibrating, reconfiguring based on our desire to be at a higher frequency. And yes, we invented the ascension cycle so that we can erase the chalkboard and do something else. I hope that helps. And we got to have another Kansas song because, Jane, you're playing a game called Mute.
No, I'm not, Q. I'm not. I was trying to take that in to understand.
Isn't it fun? All the musicians that named their band after locations. We got Boston, Chicago, Kansas. Yeah. Come on, we can. How come LA can't bring a band called LA? Come on, we got to have an LA band. There's no band called Tampa Bay. Really? There's no Houston. We need a band called Houston, right? That's American. Now that's American. I'll tell you what.
So, wait a minute. I think Zorea, if you want to say something, you have to unmute yourself. No. You have. I have to ask you to unmute yourself. All right. So now you can unmute yourself. You know, this technology. There you are. No. Zorea, we can't hear you.
So Jane, it's really important for me to always remind everybody to be playful, joyful, silly. Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm a 3-year-old. I admire 3-year-olds, and I want everyone to be 3 years old again. And so
that's fun.
That's what I do my best to remind everybody, because that's more normal than living in this this indoctrinated world.
Yeah.
Hello, all you 3-year-olds. I love you.
We should have more fun. I think this show does get a little bit more serious. And I think probably because we have so many people that are always seeking more answers from you, from Zora, regarding what is really, that's really in their hearts, that need answers to what is happening right now. It's still all about this density that we're in, rather than playing up in the high frequencies of, hey, what's going on with you, Q? What are you playing with these days? Where are you at? Are you swimming around, et cetera, et cetera? Same thing with Stan. Maybe Stan is out on the farm or something. Anyways.
Actually, I've been playing with my 3-year-old grandson.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh,
yeah,
you're so you're so
I'm getting reschooled.
You bet. Yeah, that is great fun. Great fun. So, Zaraya, I think you are unmuted already. So, unmute your phone, and then you can your earbuds, and then you can click into the call. So, Q. So, regarding another subject, we'll let that one go. Another subject is so now we just finished talking about that solar flash, who we really are as, these beautiful creative beings of light that we really are, and really to get to understand that. So in this near future, and I know it's a redundant question, but that continues to come up. And I'm just speaking from the the audience that is asking, so what is happening in this near future again, is the question. Near future or years to come? And I know we get that answer also, similar answers also coming from Zora, but apparently there's something there that they seem to want to know, that's there for them. It's almost like, forget about the now, we're in this now. Oh yeah, we know that everything is playing out, but I want to know really what's in the far future, or in the next few years ahead. Well, how does that look to you? So I guess that's their question for you.
Well, that, again, a very easy question to answer. Really, Jane? You're just going to lock me down like that, right? Okay. Okay. So who is they? I want to know who they is.
People. Just
people.
People that are listening to this.
Okay. So Jane's perception of belief systems, is that a fair statement?
Yeah, people's beliefs, correct.
Okay. Okay, so Jane has the opinion that people believe a certain thing. Forgive me for being brutally honest.
That's all right.
And I don't believe anybody has a belief that's not theirs. And so I will never install a belief system, or I think Zora and Zoraya have done a very good job of reminding everyone believing something is chasing something. And your natural knowledge center will feel the following words. Use your heart to feel the following information. Your maturation, maturity, whatever word you like, there is right under your nose right now. You are unbelievable beings of light, and you are expressing yourself in individuality and receiving tremendous amount of help now from Source. Indeed. And it will never stop. And you have no choice in it, because this is the way you associate to God, Source, whatever words you like. And what is unfolding in front of you, right under your nose, is your natural ability to be inspired and express yourself in a way in which you only love yourself first. And that's why it's very difficult to find love here. If you would like that word, I do. The word is very limited. But that expression of yourself has to come from the great, great, great love of yourself and great, great aspirations for yourself and what you want to experience. And that is how the ascension cycle works. So because Jane is loaded with a lot of background about me, she knows I am a time traveler. And so she set me up as usual. I assure you, I have been to 2,150, and I worked backwards to be here and help and support you, and the best I can without being a hindrance. And that's my real job, is to be a transition specialist for whatever you want to experience, especially in low density, because we've got our minds wiped. We don't have our memories. But I don't. And that's the value I bring to you. And with great love and great care, I give you this. The next 5 years are an explosion. And I know you'll look at 5 years as a long time, but it's not. It's only about 37 seconds. The explosion has to do with the way in which, as you say, a solar flash, that's an incomplete statement. The way in which we're growing outside the hindrances of humanity, this version of humans, is so incredible, because we will remove our memory system as our primary decision-making process. So you're never going to get me to hold dates to anything, Jane, as you do your best to do. And I love them too. I love predictions, but I'm never going to give you a prediction to choices that are yours. I'm not going to indoctrinate. I'd be no better than the aliens that are doing it to you. On 11/11, we're going to have a meditation group that solves the world currency system. Come on. you can see this all day long, can't you?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I will give you this. The other galaxies around us are observing us very comprehensively. And I assume Zora and Zorea have already talked about this. The way I interact with the Galactic Federation has always been, is it okay for me to come into your region because you have tenure in which you want to develop here, as an example? And they always welcome me. They're always very kind. And there's a lot of controversy too, because that's a huge, huge group of people, massive. I assume, the relationship with Zora is quite amazing. The universes that we're creating are the universes we're creating. It's ours. Yet, when we observe time, that's going to be removed from your reality. And that's what's so exciting to me. And by 2030, you will not believe in time anymore. That's what I have to answer your question.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, Zorea.
Okay.
Is this a commercial or a song?
No.
Go ahead.
Okay. When you were talking about dimensions, you want to change that term dimensions into density, because that's exactly what it is. You're going through different layers of density. And as far as the solar flash, according to what my father just told me, the solar flash does not come from the sun. It comes from the center of the universe.
Okay.
Yeah, so Zora is correct about that. The central crystal, what it does is in the recalibration. The English thing is very tricky, and so I can't argue what Zoraeus just said there, because it's just an interpretation, directional interpretation, lost endlessly with the English language. So when we go through the solar flash, we would look at the central crystal exuberating to all of the suns, as an example, all of the stars. And so so it's exactly correct. We're so caught up in our utility bills, we can't realize that there's a universe around us. It's up to you now, Jane.
Soraya?
I'm here.
Did you have a comment on that also?
No.
Oh,
I'm listening. I'm
okay.
listening.
All right. So that's where it's coming from. Well, thank you, Zoraya, for that answer as well, and for Q to
a lot of people are under the impression that solar flash is going to come from the sun.
Right.
But in reality, the sun, as you know it to be, is not a fiery ball. Okay. It is a light. It is a planet. It is called Helios. It is not the sun. It is called Helios. Okay. And no solar flash is going to come from that.
All right.
It's going to be coming from the central sun located in the center of the universe.
All right.
It's on its way here now, but it hasn't arrived yet.
All right. Thank you, Zoraya. All right.
Yeah, that's perfect for me. Most people don't realize the sun is cold fusion.
Right.
So it's so hot, it's cold, so to speak. And so Zoraya has it correct for me as well.
You can actually walk on the sun. You don't have to, because the sun is a planet.
Yeah.
It's not a everything you've been told about from NASA about the sun creating disruptions in communications and all that garbage. That's not coming from the sun. It's coming from your own governmental powers.
Right. Thank you, Zoraya. Okay. So back to Q. So there are massive beings, apparently, that are a part of the Galactic Federation. And as we know, you have stated before that they can't really help us presently. However, they are still in their various thousands of ships that are observing off planet. Is that correct then, Q?
Yeah, so I want to take great care of your statement, because all the meetings that I've had with the Galactic Federation look something like this. So I'm not in agreement with your statements that they aren't helping, don't want to help, but they look more like a support and assist group. Okay. Knowing full well that this is a dimensional reality, frequency. I would prefer frequency instead of dimension, but This is a frequency we're choosing, and they consider us experts at this, and they will not deviate from that. And you got to remember, these individuals are incredibly intelligent and have the history of the universe, and they want to support us and assist us. But they also have this incredible understanding that this is ours. They want to help the Earth. The Earth has different accommodations and requests. The Earth has a spirit too, and this is a very unique planet that has a dimension within it, Hollow Earth, as you've talked about. And this is why these calls are so important to me. The Galactic Federation and we do okay together, but essentially you really don't know what direction they're going to go because they are so large and so knowledgeable, and there's so much different agendas. One day they're protecting Zorea and Zora. The next day, maybe they have a different agenda. I'll be very careful with my words here. I can tell you 2,000 years ago, they removed me from this planet because they thought my teachings were too slow. And now we have endorsed, as an example, some of the Arcturian technology, which you're calling the Q post, and that is a conscious gateway to source. On and on it goes. You got a humongous body of individuals there. So your question is incomplete for me because there's when you have so much diversity in decision making without making a decision without us, we're creating our own universe right now. That would be my gross summary of the Galactic Federation.
Aren't we also individually always creating a new universe ourselves?
Exactly my point. Every time you go out your bedroom door, remember there's nothing in the hallway until you've created it. And so they just have so much respect, love, appreciation for God, experiencing being God. And that's their great encouragement, I would assume.
Could you tell us more a little bit about the Q posts?
What would you like to know about them?
I think that started in 2017. Is that not correct?
27. One more time.
Pardon?
Say it one more time.
I said that was started in 2017, which is also when you came out, right?
Yeah. So the reason 2017 is important, notice there's 17 in the numerology there.
Yes.
We're combating numerology, dogma, many things. You'll also notice that it was right at the end of September of that year, right at the beginning of October, and we really started putting the throttle down. And that is the Q post is essentially an Arcturian. I'll start from the intrinsic side, and then I'll go to the spirit side, for lack of a better definition. The Q posts are designed to give you all of your consciousness back that has been limited to you because you have restrictions. Basically, because your DNA doesn't give you all of your consciousness. And so, again, that's the only value I bring is I don't have any restrictions from DNA. 2,000 years ago, I didn't. 4,000 years ago, I didn't. We're really good at being what we are, not recognizing that somebody's played with our restrictions, and that's DNA. So essentially, the Q posts are a direct contact to a region's consciousness. So every thought you have, everything you've ever dreamed of, not one thing isn't being bounced back to a quantum recognition system, which I will call a gateway. This is a crystalline technology in which when you have an emotion, you have a thought, you can actually look in the mirror and get it. That's all it is. It's a mirror to you. That's normal for you, by the way. This is just an acceleration system to get you more of your heart center back so that you don't need it. Remember that before you got in this physical body, there's not one thing you didn't know, not one, except the experience of being the knowledge you understand. So the Q posts are been given to some very key individuals that have a lot of knowledge, families, and there's multiple gateways now on this planet. And they're designed to reinvigorate, rekindle this very conversation. regarding extrapolating, sorting information that's here. Good or bad, the individuals that are giving you that information are sorting it in a way in which you might say the normies can digest. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are people eating children on this planet. Yes, there are people harvesting and selling genetics on this planet. Yes, there are people that have controlled your monetary system, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And for me, if you really could extrapolate the information coming from quantifiable information, quantification computer systems from gateways, mm-hmm. what you would get is a tremendous shock and awe. Mm. And that's my job now. Notice that nobody's stopping me from talking.
Yes.
Notice that I don't have a non-disclosure agreement. So it has been given my role to do this. Again, you're in a war with aliens, and I'm not stopping until we all recognize. And the alien agenda is to get you to keep talking about the past.
Yeah,
that's it. And I don't care how many times you kill me. I don't care how many times you torture me. I am here to tell you that you can all be free instantly if you use your heart and your inspiration as your next choice. Hope that helps, Jane.
That was beautiful. Well, thank you so much. So many of us listen to the Q posts and how accurate and significant they are. So that background information, I think, is very helpful.
I can tell you about the Reincarnation Recycling Center if you want.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's do that. Thank you.
Okay. So the way they set up karma here, and they did it through your epigenetic system, and I know this might be redundant for a lot of people. What they've done here, forgive me if this is redundant because I don't know. I don't go dig the information that you and Zora have worked on, but basically what on the surface here, what they've done is created a recycling center through karma, and they when you pass on, I don't know what words you want to use, but when you might leave your body, they've created a light system that really invigorates the light body. So as your spirit leaves the physicality, it gets really excited, and they put you in, for lack of a better term, I'm not going to go in great detail, but they put you in a light box that is really exciting. And so they've killed me so many times, they've given up, and they're worried about me coming back because I'll destroy this thing. And it's in destruction mode anyway. We're going to get rid of it, but it's really the long story, obviously. But anyway, what they're doing is they're giving you a false sense of God outside yourself. So whether you've prayed to Mother Mary all your life, or Buddha or Jesus, it doesn't really matter. They want a false idol for you to believe in, chase, and that's what they're using to get you to reincarnate. You kicked over the anthill, you beat your brother up, whatever. You need to learn lessons, get back down there, on and on it goes. But the way they're doing it is that they're hyper stimulating the light body, and so it's so euphoric that you think you're going back to source. They're very close. They're not. It's really well done, I have to say. So it's tricking the light body to reincarnate. On top of, by the way, you need to learn some lessons when you get back down there. Most beings only live on their home planet and experience another planet in individuality one time. So we can use Hollow Earth as a great example, and I might mince words here, but we can use Hollow Earth as an example. When they recalibrate, reconfigure through the ascension cycle, they don't leave their home because they're at home.
Mm.
It's a gross overstatement. At the same time, people who want to leave a dimension, a reality, a planet, want to go be Zorea. I want to go see what it's like in that other dimension, that frequency, and be of service, help, play, whatever. I'll speak out of turn. Zorea is probably wishing she went to a different planet, but in any event, that's normal for us. We have one lifetime on one planet, and then we go home. And so that's what I'll say about that. Is it's exciting.
Hey, Q.
And I'll do my best to explain that better if you want.
I have a question. So most people through Christianity or whatever they list, whatever their belief system is people say, oh, and this is coming from people who have had like a near-death experience. So people say, I went through this tunnel. I had to go through a life review. And then I go and I met up with Jesus, or I met up with Yahweh, or I met up with whoever, the Buddha or whatever. And then that's where they stay until they come back again. So what you're saying is that all of that has been, that's really a corrupted understanding from the Kabbalah again, right? Which is really what you're saying. Is that right?
Okay, so who's Buddha?
Well, the Buddha from ancient times.
Okay, don't play with me, Jane. Who's Buddha?
You are.
We're all one. Okay.
Okay, and see how identity is their tool. So you already know who Buddha is, right?
Right.
You've met him, have you?
No, not really.
Have you met Yeshua?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so where are these individuals?
All within.
It's a comedy, really, is identity. I mean,
okay.
So yeah, that's how the light works. We just come in, we pump up the tires, and give you your best opportunity to figure this out. That's my best answer.
Can I add to that?
I can't wait, because you're the only truth I've found on this planet so far.
Go, Zorea.
Okay. When it comes to, myself and when we were asked to come to the surface, we made a commitment to come to the surface. And we're here for the interim. However, when it comes to reincarnation, the reincarnation of everyone, on the earth, reincarnating, coming back, that ended 10 years ago. Now, the reason because of that, it was taken out because the earth is slated for ascension. Totally. Everyone on her, and the earth's already ascended, but the people on her are catching up with her. And the reincarnation part is over with. What's happening now, when kids are being born now, they're coming in full fifth dimensional knowledge. They're not coming back as a goo goo gaga. They're coming in very knowledgeable.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And Q knows this to be true because of his relations with a person, and their child, a 3-year-old, is sitting there saying things that are fifth dimensional.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So when you ascend now, you ascend to a higher plane, you ascend to the fifth dimension.
Okay, so we're not going to go see. Okay.
And you're not going to return back to Earth.
Okay. So
you're not going to come back as a baby.
Okay.
Because you've already ascended.
Yes. So we're all going in now. Of course, this part of this ascension is we're taking our bodies with us. That by the bodies we have now is not going to disintegrate into ashes. This question is for Q. Is that correct?
Yes.
No, that wasn't a question for Zaraya. It was a question for Q, dear.
Okay, go ahead. Ask the question again, please, Jane.
So as a part of this recalibration and ascension process, it's time for us to move on, like pass on. This body is not going to disintegrate into ashes, correct? We're taking our bodies with us. Is that correct?
Zaraya has it absolutely perfect for me in that as we go. So not only can you go through the ascension process, you could have done it 500 years ago individually, no problem. This recalibration, reconfiguration, as I call it, is any and all hindrances are removed. And so she is correct when she talks about the individuals coming in. There's far more capability with these individuals coming in because there isn't as many restrictions from spirit. So as I keep saying, we're growing outside the hindrances of our genetics, but that's also comprehensive in its relationship with Source or God, the light body. So there was a mesh network to recycle light beings here. And it's been broken down to a detriment through the ascension cycle. So there is no hindrances to any belief system. There's no hindrance whatsoever to any constructed evaluation of us. And so she has it right for me, and that is, no one can stop this. Everyone's getting the truth, whether they like it or not, and that is complete, utter, 100% peaceful freedom. Hope that helps.
Jane, I think we have like 2 minutes left.
Oh, already? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I think we have like 5 minutes, maybe, or 2 minutes. You're right. Well, let me see.
The thing popped up, said 3 minutes, so I figured that was it.
All right. Okay. Well, Stan, thank you so much for being here. Zaraya, thank you also for being here. And Q, that was another just a super awesome, amazing, magnificent call again with all of us today that people will be listening to now and for those in the future. We really very much love, and you don't know how much we love and appreciate you so deeply, and that you are always going to be forever here with us, and Zara too. But thank you. One last question, Q, before I let you go. Did you want to do a one-on-ones like soon, or should we talk about that later?
Yeah, so I am just so thrilled to learn from anyone and everyone, and any avenue you have for me to keep connecting with others, I can't wait. And I want to be respectful of your commitments and time that you put towards this, but this is what we're doing. We're collaborating. Let's keep it going, Jane. What do you think?
All right. All right, everybody. You heard it from Q. All right. So let's go ahead and get some sessions set up with Q. And Q, thank you once again. We love you, and we'll be talking soon. All right. Don, you are super amazing. We send you all our love, all our healing energies coming your way. from Q to Zaraya and from all of us that are listening to your calls. We send you much love and healing as well for everyone here that's listening and those that do listen. We send each other our love and devotion and dedication together in collaboration, and that we go forward now in the present, sending out love and joy and inspiration to everyone around. All right, everybody. So I think I guess we can call it a day. So happy, wonderful day, all you 3-year-olds. All right, we'll call it a day. Thank you all. Bye-bye.